Hello, Chili Dog Strings listeners. Thanks for joining us. Today we have Miss Georgia Rae joining us.
Woo, Georgia Rae!
Yeah. We met her last summer at Christian Howe's Creative Strings Workshop in Ohio, and it was just such a blast getting to connect with her and see her do her musical thing. So we wanted to bring her on because she has a really awesome opportunity coming up, which is the release of her original album, Wingin' It. It's coming out March 10th, is that correct?
That is correct, March 10th.
Woohoo!
We're winging it until it comes out.
Very cool. So Georgia is 19, and what strikes me most about her is she's one of the most down-to-earth, relatable, amazing musicians I've met. So really, truly, age is just a number, but I do find it striking that you are only 19. That just bodes so well for you, I feel like. But I wanted to ask you to tell our audience a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so I started playing fiddle at age 5. My mom got me a fiddle for Christmas when I was 4, and then I started lessons when I was 5. And once I started, I think I just didn't stop playing after that. My mom would wake me up every single morning to practice with me. She goes, "Georgia, let's play." And I was like, "Okay." And then It was really fun, and we played a lot of fiddle tunes. And then I started competing in fiddle contests when I was 6. And I used a lot of those fiddle contests for my motivation to practice. I would practice the same, 6 songs for a whole entire year and then play it at the fiddle contest. So I used a lot of that stuff for my motivation. And then somehow along the way, I just decided to start trying to make my own songs and make my own fiddle tunes and try to get into different kinds of music. Pretty much any music that is out there, I want to learn how to play. So that turned into me writing my own songs, and I play in a band with my sisters called the Georgia Rae Family Band, and that's really fun. I love playing with my family. And then now I have my first solo project. Never thought I'd be using electronics to make music. Did a lot of acoustic stuff, and now I'm just trying to do everything.
That's awesome. I love that you're not closing yourself off to just past experiences. You're going with the flow, seeing what's out there, being innovative, creative. That's awesome. Awesome. So you described a little bit about what your musical world looked like at the beginning. And you mentioned mainly fiddle, from what I understand, plus some other genres. How has that journey developed since the beginning, with your mom waking you up early in the morning to practice your fiddle tunes? What other genres have you explored? What other musical languages have you learned?
Well, when I was little, I played a lot by ear. So I had the music, but I would always listen to the versions, and my mom would find me just a ton of different fiddle tunes to listen to and different versions of the same song. So I did a lot of listening, and I knew how to read notes, and I understood rhythm, but I didn't really pay much attention because it was a lot faster just doing it by ear. So that I noticed that sort of, I guess, didn't cripple me, but it just scared me as I got older, and I wanted to start playing maybe in orchestras because in my school we didn't have any orchestra. So I wanted to, have that experience of playing in orchestras, playing even just when I learned that sight reading was a thing. I was like, oh geez, this is really hard and really scary for me. So I didn't do any sight reading or any really music reading until I joined band in 5th grade. I was playing the French horn, and I was reading notes every day. So that helped me a lot. And then I guess I wasn't so scared to join an orchestra. I think it was 3 years ago. But this is just me getting not bored of, I'm not bored of fiddle tunes because I love fiddle tunes, but I was also the only fiddle player in my town, and I wanted to meet other players, and I wanted to explore different kinds of music. So with all the, I kind of am the kind of person that just takes any opportunity that I can get. So now it's changed a lot where I don't just wake up every morning and practice with my mom. I actually prefer to be in my own room and be alone and in my own zone when I practice, because sometimes it gets weird. I used to be really structured with my practices, and I used to try to really. I always have a goal, I guess, when I practice, but it's a lot weirder now. I allow myself to free jam every single day and just get really crazy.
So I'd love to hear you talk a little bit more about that. When you're in the zone and practicing, what does that look like? Or even what does a practice session for Georgia Rae look like?
Well, lately, in the past year, I've been taking some classical lessons so I could be more fluent in like reading music and stuff like that. So I kind of usually start off my day with, which is again not usual for me in before a year ago. But a year ago I started doing this where I do like scales and regular like etude stuff, I guess, in the morning, because that's the hardest practice for me is classical, looking at a page, and getting every note right and every rhythm right, and like that's really challenging for me. So I do that in the morning as my discipline to get my morning started. And then usually I'll go do whatever I got to do for the day, and I'll come back in the middle of the day, and I'll either start with a free jam where I just start with whatever comes to mind, and I'm just really relaxed. My warm up now isn't just to do scales and get my fingers doing. It's just to get my fingers really loose and do whatever they want to do. And then I usually plug in and I get loopy with my loop pedal, and I do a lot of I jam a lot on my I just jam with myself all day pretty much at night in the middle of the night. But yeah, I'm trying to get a little more structure and balance between the structure and the free jam craziness.
What kind of looper do you use?
I use a Ditto. A mini Ditto is the first loop pedal I got. And then I got this Ditto X4, which now I can have 2 different parts in a song instead of just repeating the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. So yeah, I use three different kinds, the Ditto Mini and then the Ditto X4, which is just, 2 loop pedals.
Cool.
That's awesome. So you do a lot of jamming with yourself. For people who haven't heard you play before, first of all, I would encourage that you definitely check out her work. She's so fun to watch and listen to. But what would you say are some of your main influences?
As far as just any of my songs or like influences in fiddle players or...
Yeah, tell us about the fiddle players. Tell us about maybe in your album that's coming out soon, any influences you have that are directly related to that album. That would be cool.
Well, I actually just originally got this loop pedal as a practice tool. I was doing a lot of twin fiddling, and I didn't always have my partner with me, so I wanted to be able to, play both parts and just practice with myself that way. And then I realized that I could jam on it and like write songs with it with the loop pedal. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And I'd seen Casey Dreesen play with the loop pedal before on YouTube, and I'd seen Christian Howes. I went to the first concert I went to, he was doing a bunch of loop pedal stuff. And let's see, any other, I think maybe Adam DeGraff was a lot of like, he was doing some loop pedal stuff, or maybe just electronic things that I was kind of interested in. But once I realized like, okay, I can write my own songs on this loop pedal, like then I really started jumping into Casey Dreesen has really awesome music that I've been jamming out to.
Yeah.
There's also this crazy Canadian fiddler named Jaron Freeman Fox. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
He is amazing, and he's like so loopy. And when I found him, I watched him and I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much energy in that guy. Like that is what he needs to be doing for his his life is just playing music so he can get all of his energy out through that. So it was really inspiring. And then I guess all the songs kind of just fell into place. The first song that I wrote on my loop pedal is on my album right here. It's called Loopy Loop Number 1. And yeah, I played it at an open mic like the night after I wrote it, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I've never seen that before." And then I just like realized then, okay, I could probably make a whole set of and write a whole bunch more songs and just do my own show. So that was a lot of, I guess, my influences, just accepting the fact that, okay, I don't have to just play with my family band. I can also play by myself. And then I took some songs that I already knew and wrote some new songs just late at night, jamming.
Awesome.
This is probably a great time just to make sure that all the technical stuff is still running as we want. Camera, recording. Good.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
You're awesome,
Yay.
George. I don't want to lose anything that you're saying or have any
Awesome.
like little
you guys
cuts.
are awesome.
in our stuff.
I'm really excited that we're doing this.
Same here.
Us
Same
too,
here.
for sure. Okay, so we've been talking about your album, and it's coming out March 10th. It's all original work, including your album art.
Yeah.
I want to know more about your painting. Tell us a little bit about your experience with painting.
Well, I've realized that I really like to take up space. I like to take up space in your ears with the music, and I like to take up space on my walls with art, and just kind of like I guess my music and my art are both developing at the same rate, where at the same time that I accepted the fact that, okay, I cannot paint this sunset exactly the way I want to, I just decided, like, okay, I'm just going to put the paint on the canvas because that's what I enjoy doing. So I just started doing that, and my art, it got really abstract and just, like, really crazy and just a bunch of colors on the canvas. And so that's kind of how a lot of my loops started. I'm just going to play a bunch of notes, and I'm going to see where it goes. Or I guess the same time that I decided to be abstract and be free with my art, I was also really getting into free jamming on my instrument. So I got really abstract with my painting, and then as I started like really doing a lot of my looping practice at night in the middle of the night, I needed something to break up my practice, like just to give myself a little break. I needed something besides like getting midnight snacks and like laying in bed, because if I laid in bed I would just fall asleep. So I was like, I want to stay awake, I want to keep practicing, but I just need something to just like not think about practice for a minute. So I started a mural on my wall.
Awesome.
And in my basement, and I had no idea. I just wanted this really big space, so I had no idea what the heck I was gonna paint. I just started, and after 7 months it turned into what is now my CD art. There's a whole bunch of colors in there, and I don't know how it ever turned into the picture that it is in this scene, because to me it just started as a bunch of colors. But at the same time, in those 7 months I was painting this mural, I was also writing all the songs on my album. So I think it's really cool that they kind of just both formed together. So I really wanted the mural to be on my CD art. And it's cool.
That's fantastic. I love that. I love that. Part of what I think is so compelling about listening to you play and just being in the experience with you is it just seems like you have such a full access to an array of musical language, and you use it really organically. That's to say, you use those languages with ease. They just flow together. And so it's cool to hear you talk about your painting process and how those two experiences kind of went hand in hand in developing your album. And it just really, what I'm present to is like, you just let yourself be. You just let yourself flow. You just let it come out. You're like fully expressed. And then from there, you kind of like gather it up and give it the structure that you want to see it, form into. And I think that's so awesome, because I think a lot of people don't feel that they can express themselves this way because they're so busy editing, like hyper editing themselves before they ever let a single note come out, or even let a single line get down on the page. And so I think your way of being is really inspiring.
Thank you.
It is.
It's really awesome. Oh, totally. So is there anything else you want to say about like where you picked up all these different parts of the spectrum of musical language? Like, how did you get to that point? What advice do you have to give to others who are looking to break outside of that mold?
It may be easier said than done, but be okay with making ugly noises. Like, and be okay with just, letting yourself just relax and just see what notes come out of your instrument, because I feel like sometimes you really can hold yourself back a lot by just worrying about what it's going to sound like, or worrying if it's going to go right. So I think advice to other people is just go outside of your comfort zone and try new things. Because I would have never, ever thought that I would be trying to play classical music. It's very outside my comfort zone. And sitting in an orchestra was so scary the first time, but it actually made me think about music differently, and it made me be thankful for being able to go home and be free with my music. So I think, it's really important to just try new things. Be okay with not being the best at that style at first, and just go for it. You'll never fly if you don't wing it.
Yeah.
Yes. So good.
That's the quote of the year right there.
That's my life motto.
If you don't wing it. I love it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know a little bit more about what your life looks like. So what does a week in the life of Georgia look like? What kinds of things are you up to? What does that variety of activities span into?
Oh, this is a fun question. I wake up Monday morning and I think, okay, this day is for getting stuff done. I'm going to be really productive. Monday morning is always my most productive day, because I'll wake up and I'll practice, and then I'll get to work on trying to book myself some gigs and trying to book my band gigs. So I do a lot of writing emails and calling people and trying to, give myself a job and stay busy. And then I do that pretty much every week or every morning after my practice. And then I'll usually go back to practice. I'll do some more like free jammy stuff, and then I'll go teach. And I have some students that I really enjoy teaching, because I get to make them be weird and wacky with their sounds. And then I come home and I visit with my family and I eat dinner, and then I practice some more until about 2 or 3 in the morning. And then I go to bed and I wake up and I do it again. Except sometimes the teaching is going to music theory class, or I also on the weekends do a radio show that's called Kicking Back with Georgia Rae and Jax, and we play like alternative, like progressive bluegrass stuff. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that accessible outside of your local area, or?
It is, but we were going to try to see if we could put it online, but I don't really know much of the legal stuff about that. So I just know that you can catch it live. You can tune in online. It's whiwharvard.com. You can tune in live Sunday nights. This is Central Time, 7 to 9.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing that. I'm
Excellent.
sure part of our audience will be very interested in looking into that. So
yeah, we play like rap, bluegrass, and what else? We like rock, bluegrass, like anything mixed with bluegrass. It's super fun.
that sounds awesome. Okay, so that's like the days of the week. You're booking gigs. You're working hard. You're visiting your practice oftentimes multiple times a day. It sounds like. It sounds like you have a really strong family connection, which is super cool to hear about. Because, over here as Suzuki teachers, we're all about teaching music and the instrument, but it's really about helping human beings to grow into the best versions of themselves. And a lot of that has to do with family connections.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to hear that you've got that going on. Is that just a foundation that was always present for you growing up? Is that just how your family is?
I think my family is very close, and what made us even closer is being in a band together. Because we went from we could stand each other. We got a little annoyed with each other when we were little, but then as soon as we were in a band together, we became each other's best friends. And so, I think that it's really nice to have my family support me. And then also they're not mad at me when I practice in the middle of the night. And no matter how loud I turn up my amp, they will not get mad at me. We have this rule. You can play as late and as loud as you want. So I take advantage of it.
Cool.
Some full-blown support right there. I love that. That was awesome.
I want to know more about the album. I'm super excited to hear it. Like, after hearing bits and pieces of stuff that you've done and shared online, can you pick a track or a couple tracks and just tell us what the deal is? Tell us a little bit about it.
So there's 2 songs on here that are about how I stay up late in practice. Well, not specifically that I stay up late in practice, but pretty much that I am like a night owl, and I really like to play and be creative in the middle of the night. And that one of them is Insomniac Coyote.
Yes, that's the jam.
And I love that song because it just came to me. I was just one of those nights I was frustrated and I was overtired realistically, and so I just sat down on my loop pedal and I just played whatever came to mind, and that's the melody that I have for Insomniac Coyote. And then I didn't have any words to it until I was standing outside, or my mom was standing outside on the front porch, and I was awake after an all-nighter. It was 6 in the morning, 6 or 7 in the morning, and she's standing on the front porch and she's like, "Oh my gosh, a coyote just ran through our front yard." Because at my house, there's cows in the front yard, they're not our cows, but there's cows in the front yard and there's corn in the backyard. So there's just lots of wildlife. And the coyotes, you can hear them at night. You can hear the train, and then you can hear the coyotes answer the train, and it's so cool. And so I always wanted to put coyotes in my song because I love hearing the coyotes at night. But then when one crosses your yard in the morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's an insomniac coyote. That coyote's supposed to be sleeping. It's the morning time. And so I was like, oh, it's 6 in the morning and I haven't slept all night. I should probably go to sleep too. So then I wrote Insomniac Coyote. Insomniac Coyote, although this foggy morning, solitary and lonely, looking across the prairie, searching for a refuge, someplace that's far away. You're restless, uneasy, Insomniac Coyote. And then there's a song about how overslept. Sometimes I practice too late, and I one time missed something very important the next morning, and then I felt very guilty about it, so I wrote the song. Well, it's 6:15, I don't need any caffeine. My situation is radical, never thought it was possible that I'd be so awake with all that I have at stake. And now it's yesterday's tomorrow, when there's no more rest to borrow. Living in the moment never seems to get old. There's possibilities that keep you on your toes. There's a song in here that, well, of course, Winging It. You'll never fly if you don't wing it. That was just one late night, I just like popped into my head. I was like, oh my gosh, I know my new life motto. And then I wrote all that. There's this song called Holdin' No Sleeves, which came to me in my dream. It sounds so crazy, but I've always wanted this to happen to me, where a song comes to me in my dream. And this mysterious man, well, like, boy, I guess, he's like 19, and he's really tall and he's skinny, and he's got long brown curly hair, and he's very mysterious in my dream. And he came to me, I think, in a total of like 3 different dreams. And I have very vivid dreams. I wish I could replay my dreams and watch them, because they're so vivid and they feel so real. It's awesome. But Holdin' No Sleeves, Holdin' No Sleeves is a story of how he came to me in my dream, and he's talking, or he tells me, I don't know where his family is. I don't know, like, why he's living on a train. I don't know. It's very mysterious.
Wow.
And I don't know if you guys ever have heard of Buffalo Pillar Tortugas. No. But Buffalo Pillar Tortugas is a mythical creature. I couldn't remember if we jammed on it or not. That's why I asked at Creative Strings. I know we jammed on that one a few times. But anyway, so Buffalo Pillar Tortugas is this mythical creature that lives on planet Bababadooa, and he's part buffalo and part caterpillar and part turtle. I think I might have a sketch. But it's a lot of songs that are just crazy stories that I don't know really where they came from, except for my dreams. Let's see if I have Buffalo Pillar Tortugas in here. I don't know. I got Buffalo Pillar Tortugas stickers and everything. It's really fun.
That's awesome.
That's a good mix. Buffalo, caterpillar, and turtle. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't find it, but whatever.
How big is he? I can't tell if it's like a little thing or like a Godzilla skyscraper size.
He is really big. He's like the size of a buffalo, and he has a lot of legs, so that's what makes him part caterpillar. He's got 700 legs.
Wow. And
yeah, it was honestly, I was just like drawing a buffalo with a turtle shell, and then I accidentally drew a 5th leg, and I'm like, oh, well, might as well just keep going here. It's got a lot of legs. And once I drew that, then I decided, okay, Buffalo Pillar Tortugas needs a song.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have to play a little bit here.
Yeah. Maybe right now.
Yes, that's what I was pausing for. Insert here.
It's 700 degrees. Buffalo Pillar Tortugas. Yeah, he's got a lot of legs, so he can move fast across the desert of someone's past. Buffalo Pillar Tortugas on a quest to find the last. Because he's lonely, he's the only, as the end of his crusade draws nigh.
Your life sounds so just like there's a real relaxedness. I don't know if that's a word.
I really try to be relaxed. Sometimes it gets hectic and I have to take a nap.
Yeah.
But I try to be relaxed. I try to go with the flow.
I totally got that. And it's just like, it just seems like this is my life. I'm here. I've got a lot of love. Like, you know, my life is full with my family and my work and my music, and I'm creative, I'm expressive, and this is my life. And I think that's so awesome. And like I said before, I find that very inspiring. And I wanted to ask you, because you are just this wellspring of inspiration.
Thank you.
If you could address our audience. So our listeners range from young aspiring musicians to their hardworking and very supportive parents, and lots of other musical professionals, especially teachers. So I was wondering if you could answer the following questions. What has been helpful that you can pass along to other young aspiring students? What feedback can you give to parents who want to support their musician kids the most that they can? And what acknowledgement or value can you speak into the world of the professional musician, especially teachers?
Well, what was the first question again?
No problem. What has been...
That was a big one.
Sorry.
That was a big one right there.
Right hook. What has been helpful that you can pass along to young aspiring musicians?
Listen a lot and listen to your favorite players and learn their songs that you really like. Try to put on whatever song you're listening to and try to jam along. I did that a lot when I was little. My favorite group was the Rosinators, and they were in England, and I would play their CD and I would play along, and then I emailed them, and then they emailed me back, and I was so excited. And that was super inspiring. So find that inspiration and just listen to it a lot, and just don't be afraid to jam along and try it.
So quick question. When you jam along, what all does that mean? Because I think I see a lot of people who they'll put in a song and they'll start playing the melody, but there's more than just the melody, right? Like when you're jamming with something, what do you pick up? Where do you start fitting in with your violin?
Oh, well, a lot when I was little, I started with the melody, because that's, the part that, especially when you're young, that's the part you hear first. But I think it is important to try to find parts either that aren't already there and try to find a new part to fit in there, or just listen for, there's so many different layers to each song, so you can listen to the bass part and try to figure out what the bass player is playing and mimic it on your instrument, or try to find what the guitar player is playing. Maybe he's playing some different fills. You can pick up different licks that each instrument is playing, or again, you can just try to fit in your own part, like try to chug along, try to figure out the chords, try to just add rhythmic, maybe just rhythmic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then what feedback can you give to parents that just want to support their musician kids the most that they can?
I think practicing with them is a lot of it. My mom practiced with me every day, and she didn't really know how to read music, so she couldn't. That's also probably why I learned a lot by ear, but you don't always have to, I guess, know exactly what they're doing. Just to be there and support and just be encouraging the whole way through their practicing. I think some of my students, I know I see it a lot where if the parent is in the room practicing with their children, the child is just making it amazing improvements. And even if they're small improvements, that's something to really celebrate.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up. I think that is a message I love to reinforce with parents.
Yeah.
And another side of that coin is sometimes I think parents think, well, shouldn't my kid just do it by now by themselves? They really long for that ownership.
Yeah.
And what I think is missing from that conversation is the opportunity that's there to really create that bond with your kid, right?
Yeah.
It's so different when you have a personal cheerleader in anything that you do. And that's a human thing, right? Humans relish acknowledgement, don't they?
Yeah.
So I love that you share that experience with your mom, and that you've got that observation going on in your studio too. That's super cool.
Yeah, I probably didn't start practicing alone until I was 12 maybe. Probably by the time I was in middle school, I was practicing by myself. And of course, I did still practice with my mom every day because of band practice and whatever we had to do, but it was a lot. of practicing with my mom.
Awesome. And what acknowledgement can you give to professional musicians, especially teachers, or what value can you speak into the world of being a professional musician, especially a teacher?
Well, I mean, of course, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for my teachers, and I'm still learning, so every teacher and every person that I can connect with and learn something from, I'm going to be thankful for that human connection that I just made, because it's important to just, learn from whoever you can. So not only the professional teachers are valuable, but even just the random musicians you meet along the way and play with, you can learn something from everyone. So I think it's really important to have teachers and respect our music teachers and all of our musicians.
I got that.
Because you'll never know what you're gonna learn from them, and they all have something to say.
I love that. I love that you see value in the entire world. Just anyone that you meet. That's really great. Man, I was going to say something about that. I don't remember what it was. Do you have anything?
Was it about the buffalo with all the legs and the turtle, part turtle? I think it was maybe about that.
Maybe so. Oh, shoot. It was going to be such a great thing to bounce off of. Well,
You just got to wing it.
just got to wing it, Yeah.
I wing it every day.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Well, Georgia, it was so awesome to talk to you. Is there anything else you want to add to this conversation?
Just keep doing what you're doing.
Just keep doing what you're doing. I have something I want to add in there. One thing that makes me super, super happy, Georgia, is that after we met you last summer, and you would just jump into jam sessions with positivity and creativity and listen to others and respond and react and throw your stuff out there. I am so happy that over this last year, we've been able to follow what you do and see what you post. Like, because you know how it is. Sometimes you go places, you meet people, and then over time, you kind of lose touch or whatever. But not with you. I feel like week by week, we get to see what you're doing. We get to hear your incredible music.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. And
I really want to share. I'm like always wanting to share my music, and I love making new friends. So I always try to post on Facebook and keep updated with the people that I meet at different festivals and camps. Like,
yeah.
I love Facebook and I love social media because a lot of my friends are not by me. So
yeah, you are the master of sharing, of creating stuff and sharing it like that. So like Facebook is where I've seen a lot of your stuff. Where all can people see your stuff out there in the world? Because I have
some stuff on YouTube, but Facebook is really where it goes first, and where you get all the news about what I'm doing with my music. And I have a Facebook page that's Georgia Rae / Georgia Rae Family Band. So it's all my music and all the music that I make with my sisters. So it's, all on Facebook pretty much. My album is going to be put on anywhere. I'm going to be trying my best to put it where it's available anywhere you can get music online.
Excellent.
Try.
Excellent.
Like iTunes and all that stuff.
Yeah, I know for sure, especially with our students, we're really, really going to want them to take a listen to that album and hear it. Listen to it a lot. So good. Yeah. It's good to know where it can be found.
I don't think we ever asked you where you're based for our audience to know. Where are you?
I'm in Richmond, Illinois. A very small town.
Got it.
For a while, I think... When I was little, I think I was the only fiddle player in the town. But now I know there are more. There's maybe 5 in my town. So that's a lot.
Okay.
Cool.
Is there anything else we want to add before we complete this awesome podcast episode?
I think it might be time to complete this awesome podcast episode.
Okay.
This is a great one.
All right.
Thank you guys so much.
Oh, it's our pleasure.